Jason Smith, I'm the superintendent of schools. I have a team here to help us with the presentation. To my left is Andy Langer, business administrator. To my right is our board president, John Marucci. And from our construction team, we have Nick Humphrey and Corey Hunsinger. Nick is from Campus Construction, and Corey is representing CPL, our architectural firm. Allison Benedict here is also as a board member, and Chad Bliss here as well, our director of facilities, and Mr. Corzelius, thanks for hosting us, middle school principal. John, you want to say a couple words before we get started?
Just want to say thanks to anybody that's here to ask any questions or have any concerns regarding our capital project. Thank you for showing up. Really appreciate it.
So we're going to start off with about a 5-minute video that explains the highlights of the project, and then between myself and Andy, we'll walk you through some more of the details. And then if you have questions, we have some experts here beyond us that can answer them as well. So let's just take a look at this. My name is Jason Smith. I'm the superintendent of schools here at the Batavia City School District. The goal of the BCSD Reimagine project, we have 3 essential pieces. The first goal is to look at our safety improvements, things like blue light notifications to improve our response time in the event of emergency, and improving our athletic fields. The second goal, our buildings are older and we need to make sure we take care of our properties. It's more expensive to fix a roof when you need the roof as opposed to doing preventative maintenance. And the third goal is looking at instruction. We're excited to move 5th grade out of the middle school back into an elementary setting and then turning Robert Morris into an early childhood center. It's important to note that there will be no additional taxes as a result of this project. The entire share of the project comes from our capital reserves, which essentially in layman's terms is our savings account, and about $38 million we're estimating to come from state aid, which will offset the entire cost of the project.
We've been working on the capital project for well over a year now, bringing in our architect team, CPL, thoroughly thought through by Jason Smith, our superintendent. We wanted a zero tax increase to the community. We found a way financially to make it work.
The project will allow us to really focus on the developmental nature of learning, starting with our youngest learners. Children really thrive at the elementary level with one main teacher. The teacher gets to know them, learns their strengths, and helps them to attain their personal best. We really want to provide an experience that allows us to maximize resources in each school to ensure that all students are learning at high levels.
I think our youngest learners will benefit because they'll be able to come as their first experience at Robert Morris, and then with 1st grade and 2nd grade at Jackson Primary, it will be our foundational skills that they will have exposure to. Preschool and kindergarten will be in the same building. There'll be more peers their own age, more teachers, and it's one less transition.
I'm most excited about seeing our 5th graders return to John Kennedy, getting them ready to transition to a middle school environment in 6th grade. It's allowing us to still have the classroom teacher as that touch point for the students as they're learning to make more independent choices. And so it will allow us to prepare our students really well for middle school as we lead students toward more independence.
The most important thing we can do for our families is to get them in school as soon as possible. I would also mention the opportunity for our student athletes, which is very important of our school culture here, giving them the opportunity to play more games in a safer environment here at our high school on turf, which is very common now in many schools.
We live in Western New York. We get all 4 seasons on a synthetic field. There's going to be permanent marking and lines, which is amazing because it provides our student athletes an opportunity to use these fields all year round. We already have a synthetic turf field at Vendetta Stadium. Vendetta has drawn neutral sites for sectional events, and that's something that can open the doors here with our new synthetic turf for both baseball and softball, and kind of makes Batavia the hub of not only the community, but Section 5 as well.
Doing a capital project like this allows the district to leverage state aid instead of doing normal repairs and needed repairs out of the district's general fund, which drives the district's tax levy on an annual basis. The local share will be covered by the district's capital reserves, which through prudent budgeting practices over the past several years, the district has been able to contribute to these reserves. The project will be monitored throughout the duration to ensure that the goals from the community input are being accomplished throughout the project.
For me, the most important part of the Reimagine project is the reconfiguration of the grades. I think that's super important, and I think it will impact in an extremely positive way.
It's nice to know that the district is paying attention and addressing the needs, and our kids are getting the improvements that they need to keep up with today's world.
The timeline for the project, we'll have the vote on Thursday, December 14th, assuming the vote passes. About a year from now, we hope to be engaging in the bid process to get the best price from our contractors, and then we expect the first phase of construction to begin in the spring of 2025. The entire project should be done by the end of the 2027 calendar year.
This is a great thing for the community of Batavia. Once this is all completed, the building improvements with the students being moved from one location to another, everybody's going to be excited about it. Make sure you come out and vote on Thursday, December 14th.
Please vote on Thursday, December 14th.
Please vote.
On Thursday, December 14th.
Please vote on Thursday, December 14th.
Please vote on Thursday, December 14th. So, this video is available online. If you'd like to see it as well, it's on our Facebook page. But in terms of how the project started and how it began, and I also like to say with these projects, it's not what I want or what Andy wants or what John wants. It's what our school and our buildings need. And lots of those needs are determined by our architects, who are represented here by CPL. So every 5 years, we are mandated to do what's called a building condition survey. And then we have different priorities and needs. A lot of the items on our project were determined through that survey. We also spoke to our stakeholders. We got some input from our admin team. A couple key dates in October. Last month, the board approved this to go forward to a public vote on December 14th. And of course, as you heard in the video about 5 times, the vote was on December 14th as well. So that's kind of how we got started with the project. And as I said, it's been about 2 years in the making to talk about these pieces. There's essentially, as I said, 3 main goals: safety, safety updates, improvements as a school, and then some grade reconfiguration as well. So let's talk first about the high school. The items that I put in red throughout the presentation are safety items. I want to highlight those first. So we're going to update all of our fire alarm systems in all of our schools to make sure they are fully code compliant. We're going to put in there what's called the blue light notification system. When we are in a lockdown, the public can be notified by having blue lights outside of our schools. This will also improve our response time from our first responders. We have this system in place now. This will be an upgrade to have better response time from our first responders in the event of emergency. Some work in the gymnasium, some boiler system work. The auditorium is going to have some work done to it. The roof getting some work. You may recall about a year or so ago, we had some roof work done on the high school. That was an emergency repair. That was not, this is not this. This is a separate project. This is designed to fix the roof permanently. We're also going to look at putting turf in. We had turf permanently in place at Vendetta, which has been well received and well used. We're looking at putting turf in behind the high school, where our softball team plays now, and where our JV baseball team plays as well. So I'll show you a map on that in a second. So that's essentially the scope of the work at the high school that's going to happen there. And we're excited about the turf. Our athletic teams are excited about the turf. To my left, the softball field, the Ed Anderson softball field, named after one of our longtime teachers here. Great place to play softball. Oftentimes it rains, gets wet, and games have to be moved. So we're looking at putting turf there. And then to the left of that, the JV baseball field. Our varsity team, of course, playing at Dwyer Stadium. Looking at putting turf in, there as well. 2 questions I've already received on the turf, which I did not honestly expect. Let's turf the whole thing, was one question I got. We can do that. That comes at a cost. So we'll talk about cost in a minute. So we did talk about turfing the whole thing. It will be turf ready, the next project possibly. The second question I got just last week from our soccer coach: can we practice soccer on there in the fall when baseball's not in session? And between myself and the AD, we're going to work on that as well. So we want to expand this to as much as possible to have our teams use it. The third thing I'll mention with the field, they will be light ready. We're not going to install lights, but in the next project, we want to take that on. The field will be ready to have lights. where we are here at the middle school, the historic Batavia Middle School. Lots of work needs to be done here. When we talk about the grade reconfiguration, we went from several ideas. One idea was rather extreme, to shut the school down because it needed so much work. So over time, we want to have work done on the middle school piece by piece. One of the ideas we talked about and then did not do, obviously, was to put 7th and 8th grade in different spots throughout the school, and grades 5 and 6 elsewhere as well, and not use the school. This obviously is a beautiful, beautiful school. The auditorium is historic. We just celebrated the 100th anniversary last year. The thought was to keep the school intact and do the work as needed. These are some of the highlights. Again, the red pieces in there, the fire alarm and the blue light notification system is going to happen as well. Some work on the parking lot is important. Some bathroom work. The auditorium, if you look up here, we have the top row of the auditorium here not being able to be used. It's a safety concern, so we want to get that recognized and have some safety railings there for our parents that come for our concerts. Some work on the baseball field and some IT work as well in middle school. When I show you the cost, if you take out the turf, the middle school is getting most of the work. I'll show you that in a second. John Kennedy, again, same items there in red. Fire alarm, public address system, the blue light safety system. A lot of basic work there. It needs a new roof, some loading dock work, some work in the gym, and some improvement on the JV softball field. So our JV softball team plays on Vine Street over in John Kennedy. Our JV baseball team plays on State Street at the high school. So we're going to do some work over there. Jackson, over on the south side, some work. As you heard in the video, the plan is to make Jackson. Currently, Jackson houses kindergarten and first grade. The project goes through. Jackson would now house grades 1 and 2. So that needs some work as well. Again, the items there in red, some pavement work, some retaining wall work, and some lighting work over at Jackson. Not a lot of Jackson, but we're going to touch all the schools. The second big ticket item is Robert Morris. So you may recall back in 2011, Robert Morris was basically shut down, and 5th grade was moved over here to the middle school, which it currently still is. Over time, Robert Morris has been used just a bit more. Currently, Robert Morris now houses UPK and preschool, and we have our special ed offices there, IT offices are there, so it's getting more and more use. And last year, we reopened the school, and it was very well received. Our community was very excited about having Robert Morris open. There's a lot of Robert Morris pride here, and we're excited to have Robert Morris reopen. So, that being said, it needs a lot of work. So this is actually 2 slides. This is slide 1 and 2. We're going to be looking at all the classrooms, some gym renovation. The gym needs a lot of work, some masonry work, some bird repellents. Gotta keep away the birds, right guys? So we got some bird repellent on there. And some classroom work in the kindergarten areas as well. Second slide, again, the safety items. We're going to be consistent. We have the fire alarm and the blue light safety system in there as well. Some new roofs. And then, of course, on the Richmond side of the school, we have the school playground there. That's going to have some work done as well to make it more age appropriate for our younger students there on that side of the school. Next is a map of Robert Morris. So, to my right, in pink, would be the proposed new kindergarten classroom, just to give you like a general orientation. To my right is Vendetta Stadium, and then at the top would be Notre Dame, Union Street, just to give you a sense of where you are. So this side of the school in pink would be the kindergarten rooms, okay, and then UPK on the left in the blue area. The gym is going to have some work and more classrooms in the center. Going to the second floor, some more classroom work done up there. Again, that's going to have a lot of work done because it has not been used fully over the last 10 years or so. And then the basement cafeteria, IT is down there right now, the boiler room. So all these places in the school will be touched. We can't forget about the library. Down the street, the district owns the library, and we're proud to have ownership of the library. We're going to have some work done there as well. We work with the library director there to have some improvements done there as well. These are needs that they have identified, we're working with them on that as well. So you heard this mentioned in the video clip. So if you take it school by school, the high school, grades 9 through 12, will stay as 9 through 12 will house their district offices there. No change in the high school. The middle school currently houses, under Nate's watchful eye, currently houses grades 5 through 8. The plan is to return grade 5 to John Kennedy, where it was many years ago when we had neighborhood schools. 5th grade would be back in the elementary setting. 5th grade, Nate has done a very good job here, but honestly, 5th grade does belong, in my opinion, in the elementary setting. Also, in my opinion, a middle school really is grades 6 through 8. So 5th grade would be returned to John Kennedy. Paul mentioned that in his film clip as well. This will give us more space here. So we have one less grade here. It would ease the traffic concerns we have in the morning. Dropped off children here as I have. It's a bit hectic, so we have one less grade over here. 5th grade would be returned to John Kennedy. Gives us more space here to perhaps possibly house new offices, the IT maybe from Robert Morris. This also gives us time to do all the repairs in the middle school that need to happen, as I mentioned before. JK currently houses grades 2 through 4. If this plan goes through, it then house grades 3 through 5. No additional space. One thing I also want to note is this whole project does not result in anything added on. We're fixing what we have. So there's no add-ons. We're not expanding any schools. We're not pushing out. We're not adding on rooms. We're fixing what we currently have. Jackson currently houses grades K through 1. And that will then, under this plan, house grades 1 through 2. But you heard Maureen Notaro from Jackson speak enthusiastically about that as well. Where it says no additional CRs, the CR stands for classrooms, so we're not adding any new classrooms. And then Robert Morris currently houses UPK and preschool. We will still house UPK in preschool, and then we're going to add kindergarten to make it what I call a true early childhood center. Okay, so that's how the grade plan works out. And Andy's going to tell us how we're going to pay for all of it. So Andy, go ahead.
Thank you. So as important as the scope of the project is, also it's how it's going to be funded, how we're going to finance it. So this just has a breakdown, a simple breakdown by building of the total project budget, which is just over $45 million, as you can see on the screen there. One thing to note, you can see the high school is almost $17 million. If you exclude the turf field work that's going on, the site work for the softball, baseball fields, the lion's share of the work is going to be occurring, as Mr. Smith said, between the middle school as well as Robert Morris. So the goals in developing this project is to maximize the amount of state aid that the district can receive as a result of this project and minimize the local impact. So this project, as is presented today, as it's being presented in December at the vote, is a no additional impact to the taxpayers. The timeline was again developed in order to maximize the maximum cost allowance and the aidability of the project. And then we wanted to certainly stay within the constitutional debt limit that the district has, a small city school. As you can see from the pie chart, the funding is broken up into 2 different areas. One, the district is anticipating receiving about $38.1 million in state aid to offset the cost of the project, and the remainder, around $6.9 million, is coming out of the district's capital reserves. These reserves, as Mr. Smith stated before, are like savings accounts that over several years the district has been able to contribute to as a result of responsible budgeting practices, and that enables us to offer this project to the taxpayers with no additional tax impact. So this is no additional tax as a result of this project. Yep.
So the other thing I want to point out, as Andy mentioned, with respect to the capital reserves, the money that has been housed in there and the creation of those reserves had come with the approval of our voters and of our Board of Education. So these have been propositions over the years that our voters have approved with the explicit purpose to use these funds to maintain our schools. I said in the YouTube clip that the best time to fix a roof is when you don't need one, right? So we want to do preventative maintenance, and that's what we're engaged in here for many of these items. So the timeline is, people always want to know when it's going to happen. So assuming the project passes in 2 weeks, on December 14th, then we have more work to do in terms of planning, a lot more detailed work that has to happen with our architects and our construction managers between now and the fall. All this is subject to state and approval. So, for example, everything we're talking about, they're all concepts. We have all these plans all laid out. What kind of floor we're going to use, what kind of paint we're going to use. That's all the detail work that has to be done by our architects and approval by state ed. Hopefully, about a year from now, we'll have finished the bid process. So we'll have a bid day, our contractors will be here, we go with the lowest responsible bid and take it from there. Phase one, we'll start with the high school, Robert Morris and John Kennedy, beginning with the roofs. We like to do the roofs first because it's an easy thing to say we got done. It's a big task, but it's something substantial that we can point to and say that it's done. And that will be done in the summer of 2026. Moving into phase two, Robert Morris, middle school, Jackson, and then library, similar process there. And then phase three would finish up with the high school again and John Kennedy. When the grades would shift would happen sometime within phase two and phase three. We don't have an exact date yet, assuming all goes well, sometime within phase two or phase three. Sure, we're not going to do this in the fall. What's interesting is when we announced this project in the summertime, many families wanted to move to happen now. So the feedback thus far has been positive to have fifth grade back at John Kennedy. You can see from the timeline it takes time. So the plan is to have that done somewhere between phase two or within phase two and phase three. And with that, we're happy to take questions. We have our experts here, our team, to take any questions on anything we talk about. Sure.
So first off is, I'm a teacher, I can separate, my kids go to Batavia School, so,
Sure.
And I'm thrilled, and everybody I know, because my daughter's in 4th grade, my youngest, we cannot wait for 5th grade to be everybody in the community
I
loves
appreciate
it.
that.
We are so excited, we can't wait. One question I do have is, I haven't seen anything about air conditioning, I know that comes up a lot in the fall and the spring, and I know teachers here lock their rooms almost 100 degrees. Is there any specific rooms that get that hot that might look at like a mini split or air conditioning
So,
of that sort?
Chad can help us out with that question just a bit more, but the rooms that do get hot especially, we have put in window units. I can tell you from previous experience, installing air conditioning across the whole district would be rather expensive.
Yeah, and that's
So
what
that obviously, we talk about it, it's really not a strong option. I know working with Chad, we've done some pieces here and there. You want to talk about an example we've done, maybe perhaps like a Robert Morris or something?
Yeah, I know we did one at Robert Morris. The one that sticks out is Tom Red Band Room over in
High school computer lab?
High School Computer Lab. Yeah, it's hard to give everybody a window unit, but on special occasions where we don't have something there and the room is historically moved, that we can try to do what we can.
And do mini splits not really work in the school setting for like classrooms that have been identified as ones that get extremely hot?
Yeah, they're just more maintenance,
Sure.
cost to install, to work on them. I mean, you almost need to be certified technician with AC,
Right.
refrigerator and stuff. So, I know a lot of times the window units do seem like, maybe not the best case scenario, but oftentimes they are.
Didn't you add that point, but, how do you see from like a design perspective?
Piggyback, a mini split is oftentimes a good solution, but as Chad had said, it takes a lot to install them and to have them dispersed throughout a school building. It might not be the most cost-effective means to go about doing that, but providing full building AC is also,
Right, no, and
really
I don't
not-
think that that's in the cards.
No, no.
And I don't know if that's necessarily like personal experience. My room does not get that hot because I'm in the basement.
Mhm.
So that's why, mini splits would come to mind. Identify rooms that are really, really hot, where teachers are saying, I have a thermometer in my room's almost 100 degrees, that maybe that would be.
Right. And we take those on a case-by-case basis. I mean, we meet every other week as a team and look at those items, so we take those things on a case-by-case basis anyway. So
Okay.
I appreciate the question. Frank?
Okay, air conditioning is too expensive. My understanding was we're supposed to have air conditioning in the cafeteria. That was my understanding for the last 3 times. And this has nothing to do with y'all, but.
Which cafeteria? Which building?
Down.
Which building, sir?
This building.
Middle school?
Yeah. Yeah, they put trunk lines in through my room that were supposed to service this air conditioner. There's gotta be something to do because he says it's not that hot. 90 degrees for someone like me at my age is hot. The kids he can't keep sending the kids out to water. There's no fans, keep the door closed. So I'm saying, is there anything we can do? I mean, other than we can't do it. How about a place where kids could go for a period of time, like the cafeteria? I remember saying we voted on that a couple, 2, 3 times to get air conditioning. There's no air conditioning. So maybe it's fans, maybe it's a way to move the heat out, something. Because you listen to all the other schools in the country, the heat has a major effect on the kids. Major effect. And the teachers too. I don't want to come here and teach 90 degree. I don't go home at 90 degree heat. So what we're going to do, I bring in my own fans. So is there a possible different thing we could look at? So maybe.
So yeah, I can say a couple of things. First, it's the first time I've heard of this. And I've been here, I lived here my whole life, but I haven't heard about the air conditioner piece. So I can do some history checking on that. Right. Second point, yeah, I mean, we can look into things. I mean, I don't have an answer right now. We're not opposed to it. That's why we have these forums to hear ideas. So we can look at those things, but in terms of what you just said about the past number of projects, I don't know. I'm sure what you're saying is true, or, but I can't speak to that with any authority right now. But what I can speak to is that we've heard what you said, we can look into that down the road.
And just for possibility, is there anything we can do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Besides, no, we can't do nothing.
Yeah.
It's a great thing.
I'm not saying we can't do it. I'm saying we'll do it. You're welcome. Other questions, Chris? That's right.
I saw the print for Robert Morris and stuff like that. Is there a print that's going to be released of the other schools?
We have those prints. We haven't released them because, I mean, we're happy to, but we honestly thought the most attention would be drawn to Robert Morris. We have those prints in our, so we can get those out. Yeah, we haven't released them yet because we honestly thought the most interest would be around Robert Morris.
Sure.
And the people are excited about roof jam.
Sure. So are there no other classroom modifications that are happening district-wide?
Oh, no. Oh, no, there are. There most certainly are.
So like, for example, at the high school, we're doing certain restrooms, right? So pick certain gender neutral restroom areas. Let's see here. Working in the gymnasium at the high school, as you heard. Some auditorium work. That's pretty much it, besides systems throughout the high school.
So my question kind of goes back to, I think that, if I can kind of make up some math, it seems like the high school is 16 million, and then the middle school is 9. So even if I took away 6 million to put them at even, it seems like the classrooms aren't getting updated that much. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. And I appreciate, I think it's great to get the turf field, I think it's awesome. But how many kids play JV or JV and softball? It's 50 kids a year. But if we had $6 million spread across the districts, I'm sure there's science labs that need to be updated and things of that nature, like that are directly educational based. And I understand wanting to be a hub for sports, but as a lot of us here have kids in the district, I want to be a hub for education,
right. So
not sports.
Right.
Sports are great, but.
So just a couple things I'll say to that, Chris. Yeah, we do have kids that play JV softball and baseball. We have kids that play soccer, so we can have opportunities for them. I would imagine as the turf is being done, we'll have more need for possibly our youth teams to use it. We're not opposed to that, so it could benefit more than just those kids you just talked about. As far as the classroom space goes, I'm going to go back to my first slide about what the needs were. I recognize that you have that thought of that. I'm not saying it's not valid, but going back to what the building conditions survey dictated, without having that not right here in front of my eyes, I don't know where the classrooms rank as a priority based on what the architects think. Obviously, the roofs are important. We have to fix those first, right? Other pieces we mentioned, we're obligated to have the bathrooms done the proper way. As to where the classrooms fall, they may not have been a priority one.
Yeah, I think the priorities, you know, safety, security, asset preservation, maintaining the buildings that you currently have were the primary focus of the, you know, of the building commission survey, and the results of that. Programmatic enhancements definitely at Robert Morris is obviously one, with some programmatic enhancements at this building as well, but then throughout the rest of the academic buildings, those enhancements were a lesser priority as opposed to mechanical systems upgrades and roofing upgrades.
And when she says priority, she doesn't mean my priority or her priority. It's for the building needs and what that, you know, stay at cost for. So, I mean, yeah, it's nice to have, we're excited about having the turf field. We're excited about having the work done around Morris. We have prioritize. The other thing I would point out too, Chris, you go back to this slide. All I like to say, you can do whatever you really want. You can make this project cost $90 million. That would, okay, see where it says capital reserve, we would then need to have a third line that says tax impact, right? So nobody wants to pay additional taxes. So we can do all those things that, you know, after all the comments too like that, we can do all those things. It's going to come at a cost. John can speak this as well as a board member. It's going to come at a cost. So it's a bit of a risk. So, you know, worrying to add that third line of their tax impact, there's a chance the project will not pass. Right? You want to address that a bit more?
Yeah, that was one of the big. That was one of the big things of the team was to make sure that there was no tax impact whatsoever on the community. In my eyes, our community can't afford to have something like that happen. So for us, from the board, you know, myself and John Regal, who's the vice president, went to the Buildings and Grounds because that's where everything took place, and we told them that, yeah, we want to have a great capital project, but there cannot be no tax impact, no increase in taxes, keep it at zero. That's it, bottom line. When everything was brought back to us, the one thing with the turf fields, because I know everybody's looking at the turf field, all costs so much money, and it does. It's an expensive thing. But you also have 2 fields up there that in the springtime, you can't use them. The softball field, last year we got lucky because it was a pretty dry spring. The 2-3 previous seasons before that, they didn't get to play on those fields until probably June, end of May, on either one of them, not just the softball field. Because, unfortunately, you got swamplands right next to them. So, they're drowned up there. You know, the water's there and it doesn't have nowhere to go.
So the other point too, I'll make is that, you know, we see this as being not just one project be done. You know, we need to make sure that the middle school, that the roofs work, that the parlors work. Then, you know, we look at classroom space as well to make it, to say, the heart of our education center as well. It's just not sports. So there's more work that we can do. But again, I would also mention that there is going to be significant classroom work done at Robert Morris, which I'm not going to use the price of that. So.
Mr. Report, my classroom leaks a little bit when it's really rains.
Just make note of that again as possible.
I'm sure it's been, but I appreciate that so much.
What's your room number?
802-4, heavy rain, a little late. Heavy rain.
Thanks for those questions. Anything else?
I have a question.
Yeah.
I see by the Robert Morris configuration that you're putting the kindergartners that will be coming over where the pre-K is right now and moving the pre-K or UPK where the pre-K was. Why are you moving them? Why are you moving UPK from where they are now to over on the other side of the building?
Well,
because aren't those classrooms smaller?
Yeah, the UPK classrooms are smaller, and moving them to the left side of the plan that you see here allows them all to be clustered together.
Well, they're sort of, I see.
So that we've got kindergarten classroom is bigger by state aid requirements.
I see.
So we've got them kind of in 2 sections on the right-hand side and then in the center section, allowing us to keep all of UPK in one centralized area.
I see. But the UPK classrooms on the left are a little bit smaller than where they are housed now.
Yes.
A little bit. Okay.
And that's just state requirements.
Okay,
Thank you.
yeah, thanks.
Anything else? Nate, thanks for hosting us this afternoon. And this will be online at some point as well, if you want to watch it again, to get our ratings up or something, so you can watch it again. And then we'll do it again next week, Thursday night at 7 o'clock, and then the vote is Thursday the 14th from 11 to 9. If you live on the north side of town, please come to the high school. If you live on the south side of town, I do, come to Robert Moore. No, I said it backwards. Backward, other way around. If you live on the south side of town, as I do, come to the high school. North side, come to Robert Moore. Yeah, right there. Just caught myself.
Mr. Shepard, for pre-voting, or I'm going to be in the surgery that day, so I'll be here.
You can request absentee.
If you're not too late, you can have to do that. Check with Mr. Brown or in my office. So I'll say it one more time. North side, you're a north side resident, north of Route 5, please come to Robert Morris. If you're a south side resident, south of Route 5, please come to the high school. Okay, thank you.